It's called the 60-30-10 rule. 60% of your content posts online should be other people's content. Not you're stealing other people's content, but you're reposting other people's content in the type of work, in the type of style that would be interesting to your ideal customer or your ideal fan. So like if people who like your stuff also like, let's say, cartoons or anime, that kind of stuff, you're reposting that type of stuff 60% of the time. Then 30% should be your own posts, your own art, your own like work in progress, your own personal stuff, that kind of thing. And then people are like, okay, I know what this guy likes, and then I know what this guy is also doing. So they can make the connection between something they already like from maybe their past or their childhood to something that you're doing right now. And then 10% of those posts should be promoting whatever you got going on. Say like you got a Kickstarter or you have an email list that you were trying to promote. 10% of those posts should be your actual thing that you're trying to sell or get people on a list.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Comics Grind. I am one of your hosts, Nico Rodriguez.
And I'm Ken, aka Comic Ken on YouTube.
And thank you for joining us for another weekly comics discussion. We're fresh off the heels of a very, very successful live stream that we did last week, Ken. Man, that was pretty dope, wasn't it?
Yeah. I was glad everyone came out to that one. We sent out links everywhere, so I'm glad whoever like showed up, and we had a great discussion with everybody and answered a lot of questions.
Yeah, it was good, man. It was despite my my illness that's still kind of lingering into this week, but it was fun, man. I really enjoy. I kind of enjoy that. It's kind of like that same kind of rush you get at a show. Whenever you're sitting behind a table and people are asking you questions about this and that. It's kind of like a little bit of that same thing, because it's kind of on the spot questions and everything. So
Yeah, it was
good
really
stuff.
nice and interactive.
Yeah. So thank you all for joining us in that live stream and joining us for this episode here.
Oh yeah.
Um, let's go ahead and kick off with the weekly grind, the segment where we discuss what we've been up to in comics this week.
Yep.
Mr. Ken, dude, what you been up to this week?
Man, I've been up to a lot actually concerning the comic, like because I'm on break from my job. Like since I work at a school, it's on break for winter break. I'm like focused on like relearning some of the basics on how to draw and all that, and just making pages of Air Rider now. And
Nice.
recently, well, actually yesterday, I had to like go back over my scripts, go back over my layouts because none of it is organized at all. And I had to like read the script, figure out what pages I got done, what pages I still have yet to do, put down the notes of the script. Like nothing is organized, I realized. And I was just like, this is ridiculous. It's too complex. Like, I don't know why I did that to myself. And then the story is so long of this one chapter that I actually have to like split it into two so that I can make it so I can like actually make it manageable. Um
Yeah.
but yeah, I got everything like kind of in the right place now, and I can like start moving forward with it at a decent pace.
Yeah, man. I mean, to me, creating comics has always been super messy. I mean,
Right.
it's for me, especially, you and I can, as we draw the things too. It's, you know, you need to like vomit all this information out somehow, and
Yeah.
like I feel like it comes in the form of sticky notes here and sticky notes there, forms of, on a back of an old receipt, you're sketching, whatever kind of compositions and things. And that was my process for the most part on West Not South, bringing in any moment I got, any kind of information that I can contribute to the story, or thumbnails, whatever. So
Right.
at some point when you look back at it, it's kind of just this hodgepodge of stuff. It's good that you're taking some time and you know structuring it a little bit more.
Yeah, just so I have enough information to go off of, so I don't have to think about it all the time. Because like right now the script is like in 6 different places. The layouts are in like 3 different places. There, some are digital, some are on paper, and I have to just kind of compile everything so I can move forward at a higher speed. Because right now it's just like I gotta, man, I think that's a part of the process of doing a lot of this analog. Like most of my pages are just like actually on paper. Yeah, these are a couple of like pages I'm working on. I posted these to my newsletter, and this one y'all can see on a recent like YouTube video. I'm like inking it and working on that one. So all of these is just like, okay, ink this page, pencil this page, do the next, and it's all on paper. So it's like I can't just have a clean digital process.
Right. Yeah. No, that's good. So that's you're what about a third of the way through issue 3 now?
Uh, Actually, I can check on that. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I am.
Nice. Nice, dude. That's awesome, man. Coming along. It's good that you're getting some good drawing stuff in there.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, man. As far as my week, let's see. A portion of the week, obviously last week was Christmas break, or Christmas and everything. So
Right.
had some good family time. Went over to Austin and hung out with my sister and her family and my mom over there for a couple days. So that was good. Comics wise, a portion of the comics week was dedicated to proof checks and all that stuff with West Not South. I'm getting some more samples in for some paper samples and things
Nice.
to kind of make a little bit more of an informed decision on that before I say go on the print. It's going to
Right.
be a relatively pretty pricey print, especially for someone who's for self publishing. So
Yeah.
um, I probably mentioned it last week too, but I want to make sure everything is as good as it can be and as good as I want it
Yeah.
before I hit print on that thing. So I'm kind of taking my time with it, making sure everything is all good. The good thing is that the order of the pages is there, so that's great.
Nice.
Um, Other than that, drawing wise, just been doing a lot of sketchbook stuff, man. Still, just doing some watercoloring experimentation. I'm dabbling in a new thing right now. That I'm using the iPad plus um, traditional things, bringing it back into the iPad, and doing some colors and just kind of doing some experimentation with it right now to kind of see exactly what I want. I've got a good nugget of a story, a good nugget of a protagonist and antagonist, those types of things. So just trying to take my time and develop it as much as I can before kind of getting super involved into it.
Nice.
Um, so that's been fun. Just because I'm kind of it's not it's pretty far removed from West Not South, so it's different stuff that I'm getting to kind of draw and think about. So um, that is pretty dope. Other than that, man, I've been thinking a lot about my Substack.
Right.
Obviously, right now I'm serializing brew monsters every week, and that's been pretty fun. And I've been getting some real good reception from it. Real good readership, consistent readership from it. So
Cool.
thank you for all of you who are checking that out. It's been great.
Yeah.
But other than that, just trying to think about other ways to evolve the Substack for this coming year. Um,
Yeah.
and one of those is kind of so I've been doing these kind of watercolor sketches in my sketchbook and on
Okay.
just smaller watercolor paper. And so I haven't spoken about it too much on here. I don't think I have, but so like I'm a huge World War II guy. Like I love like things that are kind of set in World War II,
Uh huh.
um, movies, books.
Do you have any
educational
sketches to
pieces.
show?
I do not.
All
Everything
right.
is downstairs at this moment. That's
Right.
kind of where I've been doing most of my. I haven't really been up in the art studio too much lately.
Okay.
Just because trying to get over the sickness, I don't really want to be like an enclosed area. So I've been hanging
Yeah.
out downstairs a lot. That's where all my sketch material is right now.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
but have I posted anything on it? No, I posted. I did post one thing on Instagram, a sketch that I did. It's like a World War II airplane kind of streaking through the sky,
Right.
watercolored. So there is something there, but so yeah, like I said, I'm a big World War II guy. I'm really kind of into that whole time period. So
Nice.
I've been doing like these watercolor sketches, just kind of themed and based around that.
Right.
Um, and I've been thinking about scanning those in and kind of making like these postcard sized prints out of those.
Right.
So one thing I've been thinking about in the Substack is to experiment with a paid level in the Substack, to where
Okay.
every month, whoever subscribes to that particular to this let's call it a postcard tier.
Hmm.
Whoever's subscribed to there, you get a new postcard every month.
Right.
So that's kind of one thing I've been kind of thinking about. And for
Yeah,
those
I
of
think.
you and
Oh, go
those of
ahead.
you who are listening and watching this as well, let me know what do you think about that, because it's kind of something that I've enjoyed doing. It's not something that's super costly, but it's something to kind of evolve the Substack a little bit. And if you guys want some like exclusive printed postcards, every month, you guys will be getting these things in. So if it's something that sounds kind of cool to you, or if it's an interesting idea, let me know what you think.
Yeah.
Comments, wherever. Go ahead, Ken.
And I think like for you guys who are creating your own comics out there, ideas like this is a good way to get your ideas like flowing, for what you want to do in terms of like monetize strategies to make stuff that people can pay, that you can charge for, something that's not too out of your own way, to create something that you can add on to what you're already doing for free, and make some more incentive for your heart your more diehard fans.
Yeah, yeah, and that's exactly what it is. It's essentially it's a I help you, you help me thing. It's not a thing where you're like trying to like break the bank with it. Obviously,
Right.
unless you get an unlimited amount of subscribers, but it's something that like I really like how some of the sketches are coming out, and I've been kind of that's another thing I've been experimenting with. I've been scanning them in, kind of putting some like aged font on it and things, kind of giving each postcard its own name,
Right.
kind of making it look a little more weathered, like it's been battle worn.
Yeah.
Um, and it's at this point, it's like it'll be like a you know World War II series. So it's like each postcard that comes out is themed in like in this quote unquote exclusive series. You can only get through the Substack. But then
Right.
eventually
Right.
it could evolve into a different type of series.
Yeah.
Sci-fi posters, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Um, so it's something that I've been kind of toying around with, thinking about
Uh-huh.
as this year ends out. I'm kind of leaning on the urn of doing it, because I just want to test it, see how it would go. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, that's
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 good.
kind of been another fun thing that I've been experimenting with this week. Um,
Nice.
yeah, and it keeps me experimenting with the watercolor too,
Right. Right.
splattering and kind of using different techniques and
Uh-huh.
things. So it's fun, man.
Nice.
But yeah, so that's some good stuff. The
Yeah.
weekly grind. Every week we do it.
Yep. I don't think there's any uh I don't think there's any like smooth way to transition into the
Yeah.
promotion segment of the video. So
Yeah, yeah, man. All we can say is, what have you guys been up to? You guys that are watching, have you guys? I know I've seen a few comments come in through some of the previous videos. Some of you are out there grinding on your comics, man. Let us know how you're doing on those. Let us know how you're kind of progressing as we go into this new year. So,
Right.
but Ken, man, main topic of the day. What we got on the docket, dude?
Well, I've been hearing in the quote unquote indie comic scene, basically some talks about promotion in comics. Is it your moral obligation to promote other creators if you're a bigger creator? And yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah, so basically it's the topic of discussion is, should you feel obligated as a creator to promote other creators, whether
Right.
you're, small time, big time, middle time, whatever.
Exactly.
Um it's certainly a pretty divisive thing, I would think. I don't spend too much time on the Twitters or the X's, whatever it's called. That's the cool thing about Instagram. Instagram, you really don't see so much of like this kind of drama going on.
Right.
Um, or maybe you do, and I just don't follow the accounts that do so.
Well,
Um, mhm.
it's not necessarily like dramatic on there, but I feel like some people can try to take it in that direction. It's just like a question that was kind of posed, and different people like have weighed in on it, and I'm interested to see your thoughts about it, and what we can learn from that.
Yeah, man. You know, obligated is a very strong word. Um, I
They
don't.
said no, they said morally obligated.
Oh, morally obligated is
Yeah.
the exact definite or the
Well,
exact word they use.
it was somebody specific on Twitter that said morally obligated, but I'm
Mm,
thinking about the general discussion. Um,
yeah.
but let me. You mind if I give my quick thoughts on that
Yeah.
before
Yeah.
we
Go for it.
dive into the discussion?
All you, man.
Um,
The floor is yours, Ken.
appreciate it, man. Uh, what do I think about this? I I never really thought about it too deeply, but I always like try to, if there's somebody I like whose art I genuinely enjoy, I'll repost them and comment on their work and shout them out and all that stuff. I always default to people whose work I genuinely enjoy and like. Um or if the person is somebody who I actually like, you know, who actually like talk to on a regular basis or enjoy talking to, then I'll um I'll shout out their stuff because they usually shout out my stuff. So it's like you find different people who are your friends online, and you can talk to them and shout out their stuff, and they'll shout out your stuff. Then there's like creators who are basically on the same level as me, or just a little bit higher, and I'll shout out their stuff, but if I don't see any like reciprocation on from them, I'll just be like, okay, all right, maybe I'll do less of those posts and do more of this other guy's post. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Like, I'll see where the reciprocation is being given, and then um, shout out that way. But a repost doesn't take too much energy on Twitter. Like you repost, you talk to them or give a comment. Um, it, it's different levels of engagement, and if I don't see like that reciprocation, then I don't hold it against them. It's just that I don't. I'll prioritize other friends or other work that I like more.
hmm.
So I don't
Right.
think of it as a moral thing. I don't think of it as an obligation. And I'm not a bigger creator myself. So it's like, well, if I was a bigger creator, I would just focus on my work and then the basically keep the same, what do you call it, the same mentality of people whose work I genuinely like, I'll shout them out.
Right. Yeah, man. I mean, for the most part, I'm in that same kind of thought school. For sure, if I'm looking at something and I like it, share away. It's something that you genuinely believe in, or if it's a friend or someone who's like really trying to get some work out there, really trying to get a crowdfunding campaign out there, whatever the case may be.
Uh-huh.
Of course, you're going to share. But I mean, the thing is, like, sometimes we have, like, you can tell it's like, like a 12-year-old kid or something who's like, following you and, like, liking your stuff and resharing your stuff, and like maybe wants you to reshare them. you know Sometimes you don't have to reshare everything. You don't have to promote everybody. I
Right.
mean, at the end of the day, like, all of us, we're all in the same space. We're all trying to make a name for ourselves, but
Mm.
we're also trying to build a community. And that's kind of something I've certainly learned over the last couple years. um and, like, you know when you look at some of, like, the biggest creators, or the biggest, indie creators, um people who maybe not so, big two known, or whatever the case may be, if that's really even a thing now.
Right.
um you know there's some specific ones. I'm not going to shout them out here, but there are some that only solely promote their own work. They're never sharing any, even if it's like someone on the same level or whatever, same art, same writing level, whatever it is. You don't see them promoting anything but their own
Right.
work. Um, and it's, and
Doesn't
and
make them like morally a bad person.
yeah, it doesn't, because I'll still go up to a show and talk to these guys, and they'll be the coolest guys ever.
Yeah.
Um, but I'll be lying if I didn't, like, look at that and be like, man, dude, you could be helping some people out right now. Not
Right.
even just me, but, like, some of their, like, peers that are, maybe struggling in sales or something, that are still doing great work. Um, but it's their time in, in the comics industries. It's almost like sometimes, you get like your 15 months of fame or whatever, and
Right.
anything you put out is like super hot. you know so
Yeah.
that's kind of a interesting thing to even think about there. But um I mean,
Yeah.
and yeah, go ahead again.
Oh no, I wasn't. I didn't have a thought.
No, just kind of a thought that just popped in my head. I'm kind of
Uh-huh.
thinking, like, you know years ago there was a thing called mentorship, and there's really not that much. It's not really much of a big thing anymore, at least I don't think. um you know I'm sure there's pockets of mentorship. I mean, I know you can, like, you and Nick's basically your mentor. That's what you call him.
Yeah.
But at some case in the comics industry, whether you were a cartoonist, a cartoony type of guy, or a Marvel DC kind of superhero artist, there was these mentorship things where you would have people above you that are kind of teaching you the ropes, teaching you things, of that nature. But now it doesn't quite exist. But maybe some form of that is, in promoting, smaller creators, if you connect with their work. I don't know. um but it's kind of a yin and yang thing. I don't think you can repost everybody's thing. You can't share everyone's thing just because, like, everyone is indie comics. But if you connect
Right.
with it, if you're connecting with it, like, it's an immediate share,
Right.
or promote, or whatever the case may be. Especially if it's a crowdfunding campaign coming down to the last 15 hours or whatever it is.
Uh-huh.
Even if you can't support it, there's no harm in a reshare or something.
Right. And not a lot of these comic artists or indie comic artists are even like social media savvy. Some of them are just like online because that's what they heard they're supposed to do, and so they don't really know. They're not really in the community so much as they're online to build an online presence. They don't really know that, like, they don't really know to like repost or share or even how to do that sometimes. So yeah, sometimes that's I feel like that's the case as well.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, it's a thing where it's hard because if you think about it in theory, right? If you're trying to get if it's a race, and even though people don't say it's a race, but at some point you're trying to if you're trying to like make this thing a sustainable career, there kind of is a race element to it.
Right.
So if it's like you're trying to get a certain goal and everyone else on your level is trying to get to that certain goal, if you continue to keep promoting everyone else and not promote your own self, you might get knocked down a few levels.
Right.
So it's you know I think you kind of always need to first and foremost think about how you can promote yourself and how you can you know put yourself in the best position to succeed.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if your friends, your buddies, the people that you respect creatively and everything, if they're doing awesome stuff, there's certainly room for them too. There's room for everybody, but
Mhm.
you kind of need to make that room for yourself. Kind of kind of the priority.
Right. And I actually have a um like I learned basically a type of etiquette for posting online, and like a percentage of posts that you should do for other people and posts you should do for your own stuff, and how that goes. And basically it's called the 60-30-10 rule. And so then 60% of your content posts online should be other people's content. Not you're stealing other people's content, but you're reposting other people's content in the type of work, in the type of style that would be interesting to your ideal customer or your ideal fan. So
Mm,
like if people who like your stuff also like let's say cartoons or anime, that kind of stuff, you're reposting that type of stuff 60% of the time. Then 30% should be your own posts, your own art, your own like work in progress, your own personal stuff, that kind of thing. And then people are like, okay, I know what this guy likes, and then I know what this guy is also doing. So they can make the connection. They can make the connection between something they already like from maybe their past or their childhood to something that you're doing right now. And then 10% of those posts should be promoting whatever you got going on. Say like you got a Kickstarter, or you have a email list that you were trying to promote. 10% of those posts should be um, your actual thing that you're trying to sell or get people get people on a list or something.
right.
Um, and that's what I go by generally. When I set my posts for the week, it's like 10 out of 10 posts. I'll try to follow that 60-30-10 rule. So out of 10 posts, 6 are going to be like reposts, which I do pretty much every day. Just whenever I see something cool on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, I'll just reshare it. And then 30% is going to be my stuff, which I always have like locked and loaded, ready to go, every like for every week. And then 10% will be like to get on my email list so that I eventually can put out my Kickstarter. But then when it comes time to do the actual Kickstarter, it could be flipped. It could be like 90% of your posts are like, sign up for the Kickstarter, look at this, look at that for the Kickstarter. Like when you're in promotion mode, you want to be 90% in promotion mode, and like focusing on what you're trying to promote, because you want to hit it hard during that month when you're doing the actual like Kickstarter and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, Ken, I think you solved everyone's problems right there
What the
with
hell?
that comment. I mean, no, I'm being serious. 60, 30, 10. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with that logic there. 60% of your peers, 60% of the people that are doing things that you like, or, things that, you know, connect with the audience that you're trying to connect with.
Mhm.
um what was it, 30% to your own stuff, and then
Yeah, your own stuff.
10% of what's going on. I mean, I think the only thing you can kind of squeeze in there is like, you know, maybe if it's, not just things that are only, that only I like, or that only connect with the audience that I'm trying to connect with. I
Mhm.
think there's some wiggle room there.
Yeah.
I think, I'm not an anime guy, but I know you are, Ken, and your artwork has an anime influence to it. I think
Mhm.
certainly, reposting your stuff, or big time superhero art that you like or you connected with as a kid. I think that there's some wiggle room there.
Mhm.
um but I like that. I like that model, because, and I think that works. Something like that works really well for someone like me, um and other creators that are out there that you know aren't constantly on social media and always looking for, you know that next thing that connects with them, and continuously scrolling all the time. you
Right.
know um so putting up like a model like that, if you're, say, you're, like you said, you're doing 10 posts in a week. You're dedicating, um 4 of those to, reposting things. You're dedicating 3 of those, or whatever it is, 4 of those to things that you do. Um, and then the rest goes to whatever you have going on at the time, whether it's the newsletter or the Kickstarter or whatever it is. I think that's a perfect model, man. I'm gonna steal that. I'm gonna write that down. um,
Yeah, yeah,
that's
I'll
good stuff.
link to that in the into the description because I got it off of a there's a site called Globalcomix, and they have a whole bunch of marketing posts that they like articles that they did for new like comic artists who are trying to find their audience online. They were written by Gamal Hennesy, and he does a lot of marketing for comics and whatnot. And basically, he showed basically like the etiquette for posting on social media, and then he links to another article that talks more in depth about it. So I'll put that in the description below so that everyone can check that out.
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely do that. I think that's super beneficial. Um, you know, if theoretically everybody does that, right? If every creator is doing that, then you're supporting everyone around you plus yourself, you know, all equally, all with, prioritization on things that you do and things that you like. I mean,
Right.
there's that's exactly what that model's doing. So
And I'll say something on that is like if you're promoting just yourself all the time or just your own work, it's kind of hard for people to find a connection point to what you're doing because if they're not into it just on the art or the style, then you people like will bounce off of what you're doing like pretty instantly. But if you put like different pieces that are connected to what other people like and then start getting those people interested into more of what you're doing, then it kind of gives them an easier like less friction to get involved in what you're doing because you're now giving them a variety of stuff to get interested in while you produce more work. Like if you don't have that much work out, then you can start doing these posts that are about other people's stuff and then get them more interested in what you're doing while you build up more stuff on the side.
yeah, yeah. No, that's perfect, man. Now, if only we can, some of these bigger named creators could subscribe to this rule of thumb that Ken has proposed to us.
Right.
Um, the comics world would be a better place.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but
Yeah, no,
it's a start.
that kind of, earlier you were talking about that, we need to give it a name. I don't know the name for it right now, but it's, when you repost their stuff, you like their stuff all the time, but you get none of that none of that in
Oh yeah.
return. Man, that's I know all of us creators have seen that at one point or another. Um
Right. And like there's people stuff that I repost because I genuinely like their stuff. and whether they repost me or not, it doesn't matter to me. And then there's people stuff that I repost that because I'm into them as a person, I'll repost it just because we have like kind of that relationship together. But then uh if I don't see any like communication back or reciprocation on their end, it's like, well then, why am I
Yeah.
reposting your stuff? Because it may be the artwork that I don't really like, or they post ideas that I don't really like or agree with. So I start to post less and less of their stuff and prioritize more of like other friends and whatnot.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm posting their stuff not just for that networking aspect, but because I like them as a person. But if I don't really like their art, then I start to reel back on that, on
Right.
posting their stuff.
There's another element to it that I just kind of thought of that I've felt before,
Uh-huh.
and that maybe viewers have felt as well. But you know, sometimes there's this thing where it's you have a small following. If a person has a small following on a certain social media thing, maybe they feel that reposting it really doesn't do anything.
Mm.
Because I know I've felt that before. Um, whether it's a bigger creator or whatever that you're considering reposting or whatever it is, but I felt like before, like, oh, if when I reposted this, like, is this actually doing anything, or is it a thing that's like, oh, I love the work or whatever, but why repost it? Because it's not like my repost is going to do anything for that creator or whatever. So that's kind of one thing that's you know gone through my mind once or twice before,
Yeah.
that you know could be another psychological barrier that is kind of involved in this whole promotion game. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, like when I think about like reposting stuff, I think about what would look good when somebody comes to my like my what do you call it? My page, like my profile page. Like when they're scrolling through, do they like what they see? Um and like I post a lot of what I like, and then it has a lot of intersection or overlap with what I think my ideal customer would like. So I post those things and I have my own stuff mixed in with it so that they see all of it at the same time. And then a lot of it is replying to other people's posts, or like replying to who you already like and post a lot, so that their audience sees you in their replies and starts noticing you more and more, so that they could come back to your profile more often. um but
Yeah.
it's little things like that to try to get attention and grab people from whoever, like grab people's audiences pretty much.
Right. Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, all those little, all these little like social networking, little tidbits, like they all count. You see the person waving at you. You see the person commenting on your post, and you know, you start to develop some kind of a internet friendship with these people, and you're more likely to get your stuff reposted if you do so.
Yeah,
Um, it's a weird game, man. It's a weird game we live in.
I hate it.
Yeah, it's not fun, man. It's not it's well, I mean, it can be fun, but it's not easy, should I say? Um,
Yeah, it's not easy, and um I don't like how it feels. Like it sometimes it feels like, oh, this
it's a job,
whole
man. It's a job. It's like another part-time job in the comics making business that's already a full-time job.
yeah, it feels like another job, but then it also feels like fake sometimes. Whereas like, I don't know if I like this person. I like their art, but I don't know if I don't know about them that much, and I don't know if I want to get to know them. Sometimes you'll see, and this is the problem with Twitter and being able to post any of your crazy thoughts as soon as you think them. it's like sometimes they'll post thoughts and I'm just like, oh, that's a wow, that's that's a little
Yeah.
weird that you said that. But it's like you they draw really well, like they draw how you like, but then that doesn't make them necessarily like somebody you would mesh with in real life.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, for sure, man. Totally been there. I mean, that's been a portion of the reason why I've, stayed off of X, a lot more lately. It's cuz I just got fed up with seeing, you know, stuff that I don't want to read, because
Yeah.
the thing on Twitter, X, whatever, it's
Mhm.
anytime someone comments on something, you see that comment. It's not um anytime they post a picture or a drawing, it's anytime they do anything in
Yeah.
every heart, every comment. Um so you're getting a lot of unfiltered stuff that you don't necessarily want to engage with.
Right. And you can filter that stuff out. Like there's ways to do it, but it like sometimes it takes a while to be able to see those tools or even to understand that you have a choice that you
Yeah.
can actually like do that.
Yeah.
Like I randomly saw a tip on a YouTube video that said like, "Oh yeah, you can filter out all this stuff and just go over here on the Twitter tab and just do this, this, and that." And I was like, "Wow, I didn't know I had a choice."
Oh
Um,
wow.
because I was seeing a lot of death videos, just like straight up death on Twitter. Like people were dying in like huge
Mm.
accidents or just getting shot. I was just like, wow, this is a little too much. And I had to figure out manually how to keep that from being on my timeline because that was crazy. Like
Yeah.
you got to curate your timeline, curate
Mhm.
it um so that you find what you want to see and less of what you don't want.
Right. Oh man, it's a complex game, man. It's a complex game.
Yeah,
But
man. I have only like one more like major thought on
yeah, man, go ahead.
strategies to like really succeed with the game.
Go for it.
Well, when I thought about promoting on social media and trying to figure out how to market myself and put myself out there, I was wondering, is there an actual definitive way to get that done? And I started reading the books of Russell Brunson. He's the guy who behind ClickFunnels, this technology that allows you to market yourself online and whatnot. And I read this book called Traffic Secrets, and he came up with this idea of your dream 100, the 100 top, I guess you could say, podcasters, people on X, artists, creators, YouTubers, anyone that has the audience that you're trying to attract with your own work is somebody you want to try to get in contact with and try to talk to. And you don't even need to get in touch with all 100 of them. You only need one or two key players to accept you, and you're in, like, I guess, the club of people who are in the scene or in the know of that specific niche that you're trying to reach out with your comic book work. And I have the book right here. This is Traffic Secrets, where I learned um that idea. And basically, let's see. Yeah, it's secret number 7, which is, it says, infiltrating the Dream 100. The
Mhm.
people you're trying to reach out to and promote, you're trying to attract customers. You're not, because on social media, like, we tend to get it confused. We try to talk and promote ourselves to other creators, and they don't have any money. So it's like you're trying to attract and promote to yourself to potential customers, not other creators. And a lot of creators will get that confused and try to promote to other creators, and it doesn't really work out that way. There's not a lot of money in it. But what you want in talking on social media or communicating on social media is to get the audience um that your favorite creators have, and market your stuff to them as well, or work with that creator so that you two can be more of a team gathering that audience together, because if you're making something that's similar in style or nature to the other person, then you have an easier time communicating with them and getting in touch with their audience and whatnot. So I've seen people with like 12,000 person audiences that do work that's similar to mine, and those would be the people that I would actually reach out to. You almost don't even need to focus on anyone else. You just need to focus on making actual relationships with those with the top 100 in your field, and all you need is for like one or two of them to network with, like to actually like invite you into whatever the quote unquote like in crowd is, so that the others will start to accept you. You'll start to get offers to be on other podcasts and whatnot, and you can launch your career that way by finding that dream 100 people and then getting in with them, and not trying to, and not thinking about marketing to 100,000 people. Just finding those 10 or 20 people that you need to get into contact with, serious contact with, get to know them as like a human being, not as like a target or whatever. And then uh you have that way to attract the audience that you're actually trying to sell your books to.
Right. Yeah, yeah. No, that's certainly good stuff. Um, and you know you could, it's almost like, you know, you're finding where that like the queen bee is, right? Like you're kind of finding that kind of that everything that kind of spores out of there. Um,
Yeah.
an interesting thing you were kind of bringing up earlier that I thought about, is, you know, you're not trying to market to creators because, you know, they don't have the money. You know, you're kind of
That was a joke.
you know, yeah, but I mean, you know, you're right. You know, it's there's some validity to that, but you know, the one thing that I've always thought was interesting about the comics industry is that
Mhm.
a lot of the times it feels like over half of the readers are creators themselves, you
It would
know.
seem like that, yeah.
Yeah, and because I don't know how many times, you know, if I'm counting like my interactions of like just strictly comic fan with, you know, comic creator who is obviously also a comic fan, I
Mhm.
think it's 50-50, dead shot, maybe even going a little bit more into the creator
Wow.
side. Um, so it's kind of a interesting issue, conundrum, whatever it would be. It's like, you know, I think the comics industry, and it's weird because like if you think of like the novel industry, you know, writing, you know, you know, prose books,
Mhm.
I don't think I think that that divide is a lot more like there are people that just read books, you know. There's a
Mhm.
lot more people that just read actual prose novels and, you know, don't want to write themselves, don't want to make books themselves.
Right.
Um it's just, you know, for some reason, same thing with movies and everything. Obviously, you know, there's movie fans. It's been such an interesting thing to me with comics. It's almost like an anomaly in this whole media game is that it's almost seems like it's held up by the creators a lot of the times because you know, you're constantly seeking as a creator. You know it, Ken. We're constantly seeking new information, new stories, new ways to tell stories, and, you know, have that inspire us at the same time.
Right.
Um, so, you know, I think we do kind of want to, you know, promote to those creators too. You know, that's kind of
Yeah.
all I'm saying in there, just because this industry is such a unique vessel in that regard.
Right. And people recommend that you when you're just getting started in the community, in the comics community, you want to promote to those other creators first, make them like you first and invite you in, so that you're not just another voice shouting. You're like, actually making connections, making uh relationships with other creators first, and then you can start reaching out to more fans later on, because a lot of these people, they have a lot of their followers are actually fans and not other creators. So I'm trying to find a way to attract other people who are readers, like who read the comics and aren't always interested in making the comics as well.
Hmm.
Because I think about like my ideal customer and um who they are and what their habits are and what they're trying to do in life and all that in general. And it's like I think about who I was as a young like comic creator and how I was starting out. And it's like, okay, I didn't have like too many video games when I was younger. I had really slow internet. I could mainly only watch like cartoons on TV, and I had a pencil and paper to draw with, and that's how I kind of like got my start because I didn't have all these like different technology around me to kind of distract me, or everything was moving too slow for me to actually like enjoy using a computer or like enjoy playing video games. So I only had pencil and paper and TV. So TV, it kind of informed a lot of what I was taking in growing up. And I feel like if I reach out to somebody similar who had similar experiences, there's a lot that we could relate on. And if I can find a way to communicate that to those that specific type of person, that audience online, then I can grab and attract more of those types of readers.
Yeah, for sure. And I know, outside of online, when you're doing shows and conventions, independent markets, whatever, um, a perfect way to do that for yourself, Ken, is,
Mhm.
I know you don't love doing the fan art, but
Oh yeah.
if you did, as a strictly advertising arrangement type of thing for your booth, if you're doing a fan art of codenamed Kid Next Door,
Yeah.
or anything of that, like that's
Hmm.
if you're trying to reach out to those people who may have been in that same situation where you were connecting to those Cartoon Network shows and all those kinds of things, and they see a print of that, boom, they see that, you introduce your comic to them, there's
Right.
interconnectivity right there off to the bat. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of a thought there for sure.
Yeah, man. Um, but yeah, that's just something I've really been trying to do a deep dive of for a while now, in
Yeah,
terms of like my thinking and my thought process and whatnot.
yeah,
Um,
for sure.
yeah.
Good stuff, man. I think that pretty much wraps it up. Wraps it up for the show. Ken, what do you think? You got anything else on the promotional subject?
No, I thought I had a thought, but it's not really it's not really too deep. Like
Yeah,
it's just kind of a comment more.
gotcha. Cool, man. Let's go ahead and wrap up then, Ken. Where can everyone out there find you? Where can they read your work?
Everyone can find me on X at thecomicsgrind, and you can find me on YouTube. I'm starting that back up, trying to do a weekly thing on YouTube now. And you can also find me on Instagram at comic as well. And where else? On Facebook, I'm doing like stuff on Facebook now. My name, it's just my name, Ken Nsidinanya. And then you can also sign up for my um what's it called?
Newsletter.
Sign up for my email list for Air Rider High School Hero. Um I'm launching the Kickstarter in March next year. Well, this year when this video comes out. And yeah, I think that's about it. Unless I'm forgetting something. And you can read Air Rider High School Hero free on Globalcomix.
There you go. There you go, dude. And you guys can find me at Nico_Writes on Instagram and on X. You can also follow me on my Substack for free. You can subscribe there at nicorodriguez.substack.com. Currently still posting a new page of my web comic called Brew Monsters, about 5 Universal Monster friends who open a brewery in Transylvania. Putting a new page out every Friday, and you can read it for free. All you got to do is subscribe to there. Just go to nicorodriguez.substack.com. Um, yeah, that pretty much does it. The Substack is one of the main goals of 2024. So, whatever you guys can do to kind of support that. Get the word out. Anything helps for sure. Greatly appreciate it. We thank you so much for joining us this week, and we will see you next time.
Peace.